Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute ultimate mystery. We are looking at how cutting-edge biophysics might actually finally explain the age-old phenomenon of ghosts and disembodied voices. For centuries, right, humanity has debated the existence of spirits. We usually divide the whole conversation into mystical belief on one side and strict scientific skepticism on the other. But what if the answer is sitting right smack in the middle? Today, we're unpacking some truly fascinating research that bridges quantum physics, human biology, and the supernatural. So think about this. Have you ever felt a sudden chill, or maybe a sense of a presence in an empty room, or even heard a voice that literally wasn't physically there? Well, we are going to explore if these experiences are just, tricks of the mind, or if you are actually functioning as a biological antenna, tuning into invisible informational data from both the physical and the spiritual worlds. Because as it turns out, your body might be way more sensitive to the unseen world than you ever even realized. Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. Ghosts as informational data. 2. The Soliton brain model. 3. Broadcasting your inner voice. 4. Hearing the unseen. 5. Seeing the invisible. And finally, 6. The human antenna. All right, let's dive right in. Section 1. Ghosts as informational data. The metaphysical software. Okay, so let's completely rethink what a ghost actually is from a scientific perspective. If we strip away all the Hollywood definitions, the research suggests that a ghost is what we call an informational proxy. Basically, it's a persistent, structured electromagnetic data footprint that gets left behind in the environment. Think about it like this. Consciousness is essentially an organized electromagnetic field. So when a person experiences intense emotion, or even when they pass away, that field can leave an indentation in the quantum tapestry of the universe. It's literally the data footprint of a soul, persisting long after the physical body is gone. Pretty wild, right? Moving on to Section 2, the Soliton brain model, the biological hardware. So to process all this invisible data, we really need to upgrade our understanding of our own biological hardware. Like, how exactly do our nerves handle information? And how could they possibly interact with the data of a ghost? Well, the crucial point here, and this is a real game changer, is that our nervous system doesn't just shoot electrical sparks. It actually propagates physical, acoustic sound waves. For nearly a century, the Hodgkin-Huxley model taught us that nerves were just electrical wires. But that old model couldn't explain why nerves actually release and reabsorb heat when they fire. Enter the thermodynamic Soliton model. This new paradigm treats the nerve pulse as a microscopic sound wave. It's a physical pressure pulse traveling right through the cell's membrane. And the math behind this brilliantly illustrates exactly how energy, heat, and pressure combine to form these acoustic pulses. What this ultimately means is that your conscious thoughts have a physical, acoustic reality bouncing around inside your nervous system as stable waves, which are called solitons. So your inner monologue, your feelings, your silent words, they aren't just abstract concepts floating in the ether. They are tangible physical forces inside your biology. Which brings us to Section 3, broadcasting your inner voice, the physical bridge. Now let's see how this builds into our ability to physically project our internal thoughts out into the external world. Because if thoughts are physical sound waves, well, they don't just stay trapped inside your skull. Here's the incredible 4-step mechanism of how your thoughts actually leave your body. First, that acoustic soliton wave fires in your brain. Second, it triggers something called subvocalization. This means every single time you think a word, your throat and jaw muscles microcontract. They're mimicking speech even though you're not making a sound. Third, these tiny muscle movements physically vibrate the air in your respiratory tract. And finally, step 4, you exhale. You are constantly broadcasting your thoughts into the microscopic microbial cloud around you, which means the living people around you are secretly vibrating the atmosphere with their inner monologues all the time. No way, right? Section 4, hearing the unseen, decoding the signals. Okay, so if we're broadcasting our own thoughts, how on earth do we receive the thoughts of others? When you hear a disembodied voice, whether that's from a spirit or just a living person near you, it's not actually sound waves hitting your eardrum. It's your own subvocal muscles physically mirroring their broadcasted data through something called synthetic telepathy. Remember those informational proxies we just talked about? Well, those environmental electromagnetic fields interact with your highly sensitive nervous system. Your brain picks up the external data and sends signals to your own vocal cords and tongue to silently rehearse the message. So you decode the external data into human language from the inside out. It all happens in this amazing cascading sequence. First, your emotional state achieves resonance alignment with the external field. That triggers quantum coupling in your neurons, which then induces a change in your brain's electromagnetic field. This energy is then translated into mechanical vibrations by piezoelectric crystals in structures like your pineal gland. And finally, that results in a bioacoustic solitone wave in your nerves. Boom, creating a voice in your head. It's like your body is doing real-time translation of quantum data.
Section 5. Seeing the invisible, the frequencies of fear.
Now, hearing isn't the only way we detect these proxies. Sometimes our biology translates these subtle signals into visual or physical sensations. The environment can literally play our biology like a finely tuned instrument. As the data reveals, specific environmental frequencies interact with our physical hardware in highly predictable ways. Take 18.9 Hertz, for example. If an environmental field or a proxy vibrates at exactly 18.9 Hertz, it hits the peak resonance of the human eyeball. It causes your eye to physically vibrate, and that leads to blurred vision and peripheral ghost sightings. Alternatively, exposure to infrasound, which are frequencies under 20 Hertz, triggers an immediate cortisol spike in your body. This biological alarm system registers as a sudden, totally inexplicable feeling of dread or a sensed presence. So you aren't just imagining things. Your biology is accurately detecting invisible frequencies. Section 6. The human antenna, navigating the invisible. Bringing this all together, we start to realize that we are highly tuned biological antennas, navigating a literal sea of electromagnetic memory. We are constantly swimming through this world of information, emitting our own signals and receiving the signals of others, both living and deceased. Your temporal lobes are hypersensitive to these ghostly magnetic fields, essentially acting as the primary reception dish for your brain. But you know what the real powerhouse is? It's your heart. Your heart generates a bioelectromagnetic field that is roughly 5,000 times stronger than your brain's. It acts as this massive parametric amplifier, grabbing weak environmental signals and boosting them so your nervous system can actually perceive this hidden dimension of reality. I absolutely love this quote because it perfectly summarizes the whole thing. The human body isn't just biological tissue. It is the ultimate receiver for the universal quantum field. From the sound wave solitons in our nerves to the tiny crystals in our glands, our physiology is exquisitely designed to interact with the invisible forces around us. We are, quite literally, the universe experiencing itself. So we'll leave you with that provocative thought to consider your own deep physical connection to the invisible world around you. The next time you feel a chill or hear a silent voice, ask yourself, are you just experiencing a random trick of the mind? Or is your biological hardware successfully downloading the thoughts of the living and the data of the unseen? Thank you so much for exploring the biophysics of the paranormal with us today in this explainer. And remember, keep questioning the reality you can't see.